حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. أما بعد، أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا كتب عليكم صيام كما كتب على الذين من قبلكم لعلكم تتقون. O you who have believed, prescribed upon you is fasting, as was prescribed upon those before you, that you may be righteous. On the day of judgment, not will just the Quran intercede for us, but as well as Qiyam and fasting. Qiyam will say to Allah, Ya Rabb, I kept this being up at night. And fasting will say to Allah, Ya Rabb, I forbade this being from eating during the day and also from his desires during the day. Alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed us with fasting as a form of protection. Fasting is not just a form of protection, it's also a form of training for us, for our body and our soul. We human beings must go through training so we can simply become better at other things. For example, if someone wants to become a police officer, then they're going to go to police academy for training. And if someone goes in the workforce, the first thing they do is they're going to train. We simply need to do it to become better at something or to become qualified for something. I'm going to take boxing for example. A boxer trains during the week every day. He trains on his technique, he trains on his offense, and he trains on his defense. Why? So when it comes time for that time, when he's fighting that ring, he wants to win. Now I'm going to compare this is just an analogy, I'm going to compare it to Ramadan. Now fasting. We're constantly feeling something, there's not a minute that goes by during the day where we don't feel anything. We feel something in our stomach, we feel the hunger, we feel the thirst, we feel the dryness in our throat. Our throat is begging us just for one glass of water. There's almost like a war going on inside of you. All of your organs are against you. Your body's getting weak, your nuts are begging you to disobey Allah. But no, we stay strong, we don't give in, we fast the whole day. I did mention earlier that all of our internal organs are against us, except our heart. Because we say to our body, no, my heart is submitted to Allah. For the sake of Allah, we don't give in. The training I'm talking about is the training of our heart to control our body. This is what we do when we're in the state of fasting. This is important. Why? Because when the fasting is over, we have to continue to train. Because like I said earlier, we train until we get good enough to be put in a real life situation. So now our heart is ready to control our body. We're not just going to eat where we want, go where we want, look at where we want, and do what we want because we have control of our body. That's actually a characteristic of the Khutba, which we have to stay far away from. One of the characteristics is they do anything they want without thinking about it, without thinking twice. Characteristic of Muslim is we think twice before we do something. When we fast, our body got weaker, yes. During the day, our body gets weaker, but our heart gets stronger. With our heart that gets stronger during this fasting, so does our God consciousness, our taqwa, our iman. When someone asks you, why do you fast? We don't just say we abstain from food all day. That's not the whole point of it. That's part of fasting, yes. But when I went into that to show you that by abstaining from food, we're actually training and conditioning our heart to submit to Allah in a better way and to increase our iman and taqwa. May Allah increase our iman and taqwa. Ameen. Do you know where taqwa rests? Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, the heart is the place of taqwa. My dear brothers and sisters, let me make one point. When we fast, I did mention it's like a training, so you want to make sure that you don't give into your nuts during the day. You have control of your body during the day. You don't want to give into laziness. Like, for example, you don't want to be sleeping all day until iftar. You don't want to be watching movies all day until iftar, because that's not the point of it. The point of it is to train your heart so you have better control of your body. It defeats the whole purpose of fasting. Because when we're fasting, we're reminded just as we're fighting our stomach and our throat, we have to fight our eyes, our tongue, and our desires. Fasting is our training for real life. Like I mentioned earlier, how training is easier compared to real life situations, because training is self-control. Look at the mercy Allah has given us in this month. He's locked away the shaitan, He's closed the doors of Jahannam, and He's opened the doors of Jannah. He's made it a lot easier for us. It's our true colors in this month. Use all the energy we can for the remembrance of Allah and to help you excel in your iman, taqwa, and character. So this, all this effort, it lasts you for the rest of the 11 months until the next Ramadan, inshallah. There's no guarantee we'll even make it to see the next Ramadan. Finish strong, you never know. Controlling yourself, disciplining yourself, restraining yourself, that's Ramadan. Fasting isn't just staying away from food, but becoming conscious of our needs. Cutting the bad and increasing on the good. I'll give you one example before I sit. I did talk about how when we're fasting, we shouldn't really give in to our nuts and give in to laziness. So I'll give you an example of 2 soldiers at a military boot camp. We all heard the quote, you get what you put in. So let me take the example of soldiers. Both of them in an obstacle had to make it past a wall. Soldier A jumps over the wall, while the soldier B walks around it. Now, they do this exercise 30 times. Now, I'm just trying to compare this to fasting for Ramadan. Now, they do this training in obstacle course so they can train for the real life combat. Now, when it comes to real life combat, what's going to happen when they actually do have to jump over the wall? Soldier A will succeed while the soldier B fails. You get what you put in. And no efforts go to waste, especially the efforts in the way of Allah. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر. It said in Surah Ra'd, ayah 28, the ones who believe and their hearts are peaceful with remembrance of Allah, listen, the hearts find peace only in the remembrance of Allah. Now I went over in Ramadan how when we fast, it's a conditioning for our heart to train ourselves, to control ourselves, and to also boost our iman and taqwa. Now that's part of Ramadan. And another part is finding that connection with Allah. Not just boosting our taqwa, finding that connection with Allah. And by finding that connection with Allah, we have to befriend the Quran. Ramadan is the month of Quran, and if you don't find yourself to have a Quran reader, just find a way to put it in your schedule. There's no limit to how much Quran you can take in a week. If you don't read Quran that often, then try putting it in your schedule like Surah Kaf. There's ultimate rewards for Surah Kaf, reading it on a Friday. And if you find it too long, try 1 page a week, try 2 pages a week, try 3 pages a week, as long as you're building out consistency. Then you have Surah Mulk. Surah Mulk is another way to connect with the Quran. It said, on the Day of Judgment, there's a 30-ayah surah that will intercede for you, and it's Tabarakallah, Surah Mulk. It said if you read Surah Mulk before you go to bed at night, it will protect you from the punishment of the grave. May Allah protect us from the punishment of the grave. Amen. I'll narrate a hadith. The Prophet said it shows the importance of how believers should be attached to the Quran. The example of those who recite the Quran is a citrus fruit. It smells good and it tastes good. So the outside and the inside is good as well. The example of a believer who does not recite the Quran is like a date. It doesn't smell too good on the outside, so the appearance isn't that good, but it's still good on the inside. And the example of a hypocrite who recites the Quran is like a basil leaf. The fragrance is still good, but it tastes bitter in the inside. And the hypocrite who does not recite the Quran is like a pollen sin, which tastes bitter and has no smell. Let's aim to be the believer in Qiyam who is excited to stand before Allah. He has the fear of Allah. He stands in Tarawih Salat to worship His Maker. He wants to build that connection with Allah. He wants the Quran to flow in his heart, to purify his heart. Stay away from, when you stand in Tarawih, stay away from counting down every rak'ah. You know, some people come to Tarawih just to do it. Some people come for just customary tradition, but let's have that motive to come to Tarawih to worship Allah. And some rewards for reading Surah Kahf on Jummah. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever reads Surah Kahf on a Friday will find his entire week enlightened up to the next Friday. It's also mentioned in Surah Al-Quran. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever reads Surah Kahf, not just reciting it, to read it, to understand it, to know what it's all about, to believe in it, and to have firm conviction, etc., you'll be protected from the trials of the dog. And lastly, it is also narrated by Imam radiallahu anhu. The Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever reads Surah Kahf on the day of Jummah, a light will shine from beneath his feet to the clouds of the sky, which will shine for him on the day of resurrection. And he will be forgiven his sins between the two Fridays. To conclude, I just wanted to bring the connection of how when we fast, it's not just abstaining from food all day. When someone asks you, why do you fast? Don't just say you abstain from food all day from Fajr to Maghrib, because that's not the whole reason why we fast. It's there to train us to build our taqwa, to purify our heart. We purify our deeds during the day. We're not going to go through as much of haram things as we do during the day just for the sake we're fasting. It's there to purify our heart, build our taqwa, build our iman. And this is the perfect month to do it. Allah has blessed us with this month as a training month. So we'll be flying the next 7 months, inshallah, until the next Ramadan. And after we build that taqwa, as we build that taqwa, we have to build that connection with our Creator through the Quran. Because that's a correct connection to Himself. As said by Sheikh Abdullah Hernandez, he said, turn to the Quran. Allah will not call you to anything but good, and Allah will not call you to anything but strength, because Allah is Allah. Bismillah walhamdulillah. Bismillah walhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma ajirni minan nar. ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم إني أسألك الجنة وأعوذ بك من النار. Ya Allah, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, please grant us your love, the love of those who love you. Please help us attain the deeds which earn your love. Ya Allah, you love to forgive, you're the most forgiving. Please grant us your forgiveness. Ya Allah, our brothers and sisters who are suffering in Gaza, Syria, Egypt, and the other countries, Ya Allah, please grant them the strength to endure what Allah has decreed for them. Ya Allah, please grant them the ease. لا إله إلا الله العليم العظيم. لا إله إلا الله رب العرش العظيم. لا إله إلا الله رب السماوات ورب الأرض ورب العرش الكريم. الحمد لله رب العالمين.